Okay, good afternoon. I'm here today to explain to you that there is a right way and a wrong way to do sales. Okay, at the end of this presentation, I hope you'll understand what good and poor sales looks like. Let me start by sharing with you some books that I found on Amazon. This first one, Who Dares Sells? Obviously a play on the SAS motto. And at the bottom it says here, the ultimate guide to selling anything to anyone. Another one, available to buy on Amazon, Guerrilla Selling. And again, the byline here, unconventional weapons and tactics for increasing your sales. Found another one, Zero Resistance Selling. And it talks about something called psycho-cybernetics. Now, I don't even know what that is, but it sounds not very good, doesn't it? What sort of feeling are you getting from these book titles? What?
Aggressive.
Aggressive.
Ruthless.
Ruthless.
Passion.
I'm not sure about passion. We've got one a bit later that talks about passion. We'll come back to that one. They're all sort of quite aggressive, aren't they? They've got like sort of almost army connotations. You know, it's talking about guerrilla warfare and the SAS. Yeah, it gets worse. Bare knuckle selling. Yeah, knockout tactics. They don't teach you at business school. He's there with his old fists up. This though is probably my favourite, if that can be the right thing. Heavy hitter selling. And yes, that's a baseball bat across his shoulders. Now, I'd hate to leave you with the impression that every single sales book on Amazon is aggressive and about sort of war and what have you, because I did find this one, and it's where your passion comes in. Seductive selling. Yeah. But the majority of them out there, I like that one. Now, those books are written by salespeople. For whom?
Salespeople.
Other salespeople. And then as salespeople, we moan about the fact that we've got a bad reputation. These are for sale in the bookshops. You can go to Waterstones, look in the business section and find these books. And if we can find them as salespeople, it means that other people that are browsing around those shelves can also see them. Who's this?
Hitler.
No?
Hitler's brother.
No. Actually, it's a bit unfair because you won't guess. Okay, if you didn't know who James Alexander Gordon was, you got no chance with this guy. This guy was around in the 1920s, 1930s. He's an American, and his name is Marmaduke Wetherell. Okay. Now, Marmaduke Wetherell was a big game hunter. He would go over to Africa, and he would shoot animals, tigers, rhinoceros, chop them up, stick their heads on the wall as a trophy. Okay, he was a big game hunter. Okay, he became infamous for something that happened in the UK. Have we all heard of the Loch Ness Monster story?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Yeah, well, it's Scotland, part of the UK. So what happened was, there was this story going around that these people had seen a monster in Loch Ness. And the Daily Mail paid Marmaduke Wetherell, as a big game hunter, to go and find it. So of course he went up there and he had a look around, went out in a boat, couldn't find anything. But of course he wanted the publicity and the fame and everything else that would give him. What he'd taken in his travel kit that he took up there was a rhinoceros hoof in the form of a waste paper basket. That's what they used to do. They used to use all different parts of the animals and then sell them as like curios and things. So because he couldn't find the Loch Ness Monster, he pushed the foot of the rhinoceros into the soft banks of Loch Ness and made it look like footprints. Took some photographs and went, there you go, categoric proof that there is a monster. So of course that hit the papers and there was this big thing going on. That was fine until the guys turned up from the Natural History Museum that took some plaster casts of said hoofs, took them back to London and declared within a couple of days it's a rhinoceros print, which is impossible. And they don't live in water like Loch Ness Monster would all the time. So he was disgraced and he went into hiding, was unheard of for a few years. Okay. So if he was a hunter and he was a big game hunter, who's this?
Steve Irwin?
Yeah. What was Steve Irwin otherwise known as?
Lineman.
Crocodile hunter.
Crocodile hunter. He dresses like a hunter, look. He's got the camouflage gear on, he's got the khakis on, right? But he also hunted animals, but he never hunted animals to hurt them. Why did he hunt them?
To preserve them?
To preserve them, to understand why they were dying out, because their habitats were being eaten away by deforestation and things like that. So he's a hunter. He gets all the thrill of the chase that Marmaduke got. But when he found the animal, he didn't want to kill it, he wanted to understand it, he wanted to protect it. So he is what I call a conservationist hunter. Okay? He wants to protect the animals. Who's this?
A snake. A snake guy.
Steve.
I was going to say Steve Irwin with a haircut.
Right. This one is another Deadly 60.
Yeah.
So this is another hunter, guy called Steve Backshall. Now Steve is very much into entomology, I think, very much into insects and reptiles and things like that. He's another hunter though. But again, he stalks his prey. He has to, otherwise he can't catch them. He does catch them, but he's not catching them to hurt them, he's catching them to understand them. Now here's where it comes back to sales. I've worked for lots of sales managers that are like Marmaduke Wetherall. They don't care about getting how you get the sale as long as you get it. They don't care what you say to get it. As a result of behaving that way as salespeople, we kill the opportunity to go back to that client again. We might get the sale once, but it's like chopping their heads off and sticking it on a wall. We'll never sell to them again, because when they realise they've been misled, they won't come back to us. Whereas the Steve Irwins, the Steve Backshalls, that's how I want you to sell. I want you to sell in a way that means you can go back to the same customer and sell to them again and again and again. So the message I want to leave you with as you go through your sales careers is don't be a big game hunter type of salesperson. Be a conservationist hunter type of salesperson. Thank you very much.